China has just announced a new approach to building microchips that could enable 1.4 nanometer class transistors without relying on leading-edge lithography. Instead of focusing solely on shrinking transistors, Huawei is trying to shrink something else: time. I've spent more than a decade designing advanced chips, and when I heard about this announcement and the introduction of a new scaling strategy, I had to take a closer look. In this video, we'll explore whether this breakthrough is really as significant as it sounds, or perhaps even more important. For decades, the semiconductor industry followed a straightforward formula: make transistors smaller, fit more of them into the same area, and achieve higher performance at lower cost. This principle is what made Moore's Law so successful. Today, however, that approach is reaching its limits. Performance improvements are no longer doubling with every generation. Each new manufacturing node delivers smaller gains while becoming dramatically more expensive. For example, with the upcoming A14 transistor generation, TSMC is working hard to achieve only about a 6% improvement in transistor density. Huawei faces an even greater challenge. Unlike companies such as TSMC or Intel, Huawei cannot purchase EUV lithography machines, the highly advanced systems responsible for manufacturing today's most sophisticated 3-nanometer and 2-nanometer chips. These incredible machines made modern semiconductor manufacturing possible. In response to export restrictions, Huawei and SMIC have pushed older DUV lithography technology much further than many experts believed possible. While they continue developing domestic alternatives to EUV, their current solution relies heavily on increasingly complex multi-patterning techniques. Before we continue, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Instead of printing an extremely tiny pattern in a single exposure, multi-patterning divides it into several simpler steps. Engineers print one portion, etch it, print another, etch again, and repeat the process. This allows older DUV machines to create features much smaller than they were originally designed to produce. Using this method, SMIC has successfully manufactured chips that many consider comparable to a 7-nanometer process. It's an impressive engineering achievement, but it comes with significant trade-offs. More manufacturing steps increase production time, cost, and the chances of defects. Eventually, engineers reach a point where the process simply can't be pushed any further. That forced Huawei to think beyond the limitations of EUV lithography. What if the future of chip scaling isn't mainly about making transistors smaller? What if we've been optimizing the wrong thing all along? Huawei's answer is surprisingly simple: fold the chip, literally. To understand why this idea could work, we first need to look at the real bottleneck in modern computing. Most people assume today's computers are limited by processing power. In reality, they're increasingly limited by distance. Once you understand the numbers, it's difficult to look at chip design the same way again. According to Huawei, more than 80% of a chip's energy can be spent moving data rather than performing actual computation. Think about that for a moment. A massive data center spends far more energy transferring information between different parts of a chip than it does carrying out calculations. That completely changes how we should think about improving performance. The key challenge is something called RC delay. You can imagine a modern processor as a huge city filled with billions of transistors connected by an enormous network of microscopic metal wires spread across more than 20 layers. Every electrical signal has to travel through these wires. Each wire has resistance, which slows signals down, and capacitance, which behaves like a tiny unwanted battery that must be charged and discharged every time data moves. The longer the distance a signal travels, the greater these delays become. This is one of the biggest reasons why CPU and GPU clock speeds have barely increased over the past several years. For decades, chips have been built almost entirely in 2 dimensions. Take NVIDIA's latest GPUs as an example. They contain hundreds of billions of transistors distributed across large, flat pieces of silicon. Processing units sit beside one another, forcing information to travel sideways across the chip, sometimes over several millimeters or even centimeters. Every trip consumes time and energy. For more than 60 years, the semiconductor industry has focused on shrinking transistors. But today, one of the biggest performance barriers isn't the transistor itself, it's the distance between them. Once you recognize that, a completely different solution becomes possible. Instead of building outward, engineers can start building upward. This is where Huawei's concept of logical folding comes into play. Imagine taking a large sheet of paper and folding it in half. Points that were once far apart suddenly become neighbors. Huawei wants to apply the same principle to chip design. Instead of placing different parts of a processor side by side, they stack and fold sections of the logic vertically. Information that previously had to travel millimeters across the surface of a chip may now need to travel only a few micrometers through vertical connections. By dramatically reducing the distance data must travel, Huawei hopes to reduce latency, lower power consumption, and improve overall performance without relying solely on ever smaller transistors. This concept forms the foundation of Huawei's new Tau scaling strategy. Interestingly, Einstein showed us that space and time are deeply connected. For decades, the semiconductor industry has focused almost entirely on shrinking transistors. Huawei believes the next major breakthrough won't come from making devices smaller, it will come from mastering time. The idea behind Tau scaling is to reduce the amount of time it takes for information to travel through a chip. By shortening signal paths and minimizing RC delays, data can move much faster. Once you start thinking this way, the traditional boundaries of a chip begin to disappear. Instead of expanding chips horizontally, Huawei wants to build vertically, almost like adding another floor to a house. At least for now, they're talking about one additional layer. On paper, it's a brilliant concept. But there's one huge problem. The very reason chips haven't been built this way from the beginning. Huawei believes it has found a breakthrough that could finally make this approach practical, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Before we continue, I'd like to thank today's sponsor. One of the biggest challenges in technology isn't coming up with great ideas. It's remembering them and turning them into action later. That's why I always carry the Plod Note Pro with me to conferences, meetings, and engineering discussions. My best ideas rarely happen while sitting at a desk. They're usually sparked during conversations with engineers, founders, or researchers. Whenever an important insight or action item comes up, I want to capture it immediately. And this device makes that incredibly simple. It's about the size of a credit card, magnetically attaches to the back of my phone, and starts recording with a single button. Once the meeting is over, AI automatically transcribes the conversation, generates a concise summary, highlights the key ideas and action items, and makes everything searchable. I often use those summaries when writing LinkedIn posts, preparing YouTube videos, or organizing ideas for my startup, and it's become an essential part of my workflow. Whether I am meeting with engineers, advisors, or mentors, I receive a clear overview of the discussion, including decisions and next steps all in one place. When I'm attending conferences or sitting in meetings, I usually use the Note Pro, but when I'm driving or walking, I prefer the Note Pin S because it works completely hands-free. I can wear it as a magnetic pin or clip it onto my clothing. Since my memory isn't perfect, voice recording lets me stay fully engaged in the conversation without worrying about taking notes or forgetting important details. If you're a founder, researcher, consultant, or anyone who spends a lot of time in meetings, this is definitely worth checking out. You'll find the link in the description below, and if you use my code Anastasi, you'll receive 17% off during Plod's biggest sale of the year. Now let's get back to Huawei. Stacking logic on top of logic sounds elegant and almost obvious, but the moment you split a processor into multiple layers, a completely new challenge appears. Those layers must constantly communicate with each other, potentially billions of times every second. This is where many people overlook the real difficulty. The entire concept only works if information can move between those layers almost instantly. Otherwise, you've simply replaced one bottleneck with another. That means Huawei needs a way to build an enormous number of extremely fast connections between these vertically stacked logic layers. This brings us to what may be the single most important announcement in Huawei's entire presentation. The company is betting its future scaling roadmap on one number, 1.5 microns, more specifically a 1.5 micron hybrid bonding pitch. At first glance, that number may not sound particularly impressive. After all, we're used to hearing about 2 nanometer, 1.6 nanometer, or even angstrom-class transistors, but those numbers describe transistor dimensions. The 1.5 micron figure refers to something completely different. the spacing between the microscopic connections that link separate silicon chips together. When I first heard that target, it immediately caught my attention because it's incredibly ambitious. Here's why. Imagine taking two silicon dies, placing one directly on top of the other, and connecting them using millions, or even billions, of tiny copper-to-copper interconnects. The more of these connections you can fit into a given area, the more data can flow between the two layers. Eventually, those separate chips begin to behave almost as if they were a single piece of silicon. That's the promise of hybrid bonding, and it's why Huawei keeps emphasizing the 1.5 micron target. To appreciate how ambitious this is, consider the current state of the art. AMD's 3D V-Cache technology uses hybrid bonding with a pitch of roughly 9 microns. Intel and TSMC are operating in a similar range. Huawei, however, is aiming for somewhere between 1.5 and 2 microns. That's an enormous leap, and achieving it isn't simply a matter of improving the bonding process itself. As connection pitches become smaller, manufacturers need entirely new fabrication techniques, new manufacturing equipment, more precise assembly methods, and advanced testing procedures. That's one of the most fascinating aspects of Huawei's roadmap to watch over the next several years. But solving the communication problem only gets you halfway to the goal. Then another challenge appears, and it may be even more difficult: heat. Connecting multiple logic chips together is one thing. Keeping them cool while they're all operating at full speed is an entirely different engineering challenge. We've already seen the industry successfully stack memory on top of logic processors. Stacking multiple high-performance logic layers, however, generates far more heat and introduces an entirely new level of thermal complexity. But there's an important difference. Memory is relatively passive, logic isn't. Logic circuits switch billions of times every second, consuming far more power and generating a tremendous amount of heat. That's where things become truly challenging, and it leads us to perhaps the biggest question raised by Huawei's entire presentation. When you stack logic on top of logic, you're packing much more computing power into a much smaller space. That increases performance, but it also dramatically increases heat density. This challenge becomes even more significant because Huawei's first target isn't a massive data center processor. It's the Kirin smartphone chip. Data centers have an advantage. They can rely on large heat sinks, powerful fans, liquid cooling systems, and sophisticated thermal management infrastructure. A smartphone has none of those luxuries. It's thin, compact, battery-powered, and designed to fit comfortably in your hand. Once multiple active logic layers are stacked together inside such a small device, managing heat becomes incredibly difficult. And that's arguably Huawei's biggest engineering obstacle. No matter how powerful a processor is, if it can't efficiently remove heat, it won't be able to maintain peak performance. As temperatures rise, the chip has to reduce its operating speed to protect itself. The more logic layers you stack, the harder this problem becomes. That's why, out of everything Huawei presented, I believe the thermal solution is the single most important piece to watch. If they solve the cooling challenge, their roadmap becomes extremely compelling. If they don't, the entire concept becomes much harder to realize. Huawei hasn't revealed exactly how it plans to overcome this issue, and that's still one of the biggest unanswered questions. I recently covered one of the most promising technologies for solving chip heat problems in another video, so be sure to check that out later. Now here's the interesting part. Aside from the ambitious 1.5 micron hybrid bonding target, which really is a significant breakthrough, most of the underlying ideas aren't entirely new. In fact, the semiconductor industry has been obsessed with timing for decades. Inside a processor, if signals don't arrive exactly when they're supposed to, nothing else matters. Achieving timing closure is one of the most difficult parts of chip design, and in many ways, it's an art. I know this firsthand because I used to work on timing sign-off. Honestly, tape-out season was one of the most stressful periods of the entire design cycle. It almost felt like performing brain surgery. You adjust the size of a single logic cell or move it by just a tiny amount, and suddenly the timing of an entire section of the chip can break. With millions of possible cell placements, finding the perfect layout is an incredibly complex optimization problem. That's why electronic design automation, or EDA tools, spend countless hours running simulations behind the scenes. They're constantly searching for the best placement of logic cells, shortening signal paths, improving routing efficiency, increasing layout density, and ensuring every signal arrives exactly when it should. In other words, the industry has been fighting the problems of distance, geometry, and timing for decades. So while watching Huawei's presentation, I kept asking myself one question. Haven't we already been moving in this direction? After all, AMD already stacks memory on top of processors using 3DV cache. High bandwidth memory, or HBM, stacks as many as 12 memory dies vertically. And the industry isn't stopping there. Researchers are now stacking transistors themselves. What you're looking at here are CFETs, complementary field effect transistors. Developed by IMEC, these vertically stacked transistor designs are expected to become part of commercial chips within the next decade. So the shift from two-dimensional chip layouts to three-dimensional architectures isn't a radical new concept. What Huawei is proposing is to push that evolution much further. That brings us to the claim that captured headlines around the world. Huawei says that, using logical folding, it could eventually achieve transistor densities comparable to a 1.4 nanometer class process by around 2031. According to the company, its dual-layer Kirin implementation already reaches approximately 238 million transistors per square millimeter. Compared with its conventional planar design, that's roughly a 55% increase in transistor density. That's genuinely impressive. But this is also where the discussion becomes controversial. Generally speaking, stacking two mature manufacturing nodes together doesn't magically create a brand new process node. And it certainly doesn't transform an older fabrication technology into a true 1.4 nanometer manufacturing process. What stacking does accomplish is increasing the amount of logic that fits within the same chip footprint. That's why I would interpret the phrase 1.4 nanometer equivalent very carefully. It refers to effective logic density rather than the physical dimensions of individual transistors, which leads to an even bigger question. If tau scaling isn't replacing traditional transistor scaling, then what exactly is it? Moore's law delivered better performance by making transistors smaller, cheaper, and more numerous with every generation. Tau scaling takes a different approach. Instead of depending entirely on transistor miniaturization, it aims to improve performance through advanced packaging, vertical integration, faster interconnects, and system-level optimization. That's a completely valid engineering strategy. The trade-off, however, is that unlike Moore's law, these improvements are likely to increase manufacturing complexity and cost in exchange for higher performance. For me, that's what makes this story so fascinating. The real challenge isn't the concept itself, it's the execution. Everything Huawei wants to achieve is extraordinarily difficult, especially when manufacturing millions of chips at commercial scale. At the same time, Huawei has repeatedly demonstrated that it has exceptional engineering talent. Whether Huawei and SMIC can eventually close the technology gap with the world's leading semiconductor companies remains one of the biggest questions in the industry. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you believe tau scaling represents the next major evolution in chip design? Or is it simply another clever workaround? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like to learn more, check out my video on China's efforts to develop an alternative to EUV lithography. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.